To those of you that have seen an episode of this series before, you already know the drill. This time we're breaking down Fathom. Every single jump I can think of, movement strategies, whatever comes to mind, whether you're a beginner or experienced player, I'm confident you'll learn something new. As usual, these breakdowns are done live on my Twitch page. I've linked that in the description below. I've also put timestamps in the description as well. This could help you better navigate the video in case you don't want to watch all of it. I'd also like to continue this series and get through all the competitive maps in alphabetical order. So the next one is Fissure. I plan to break that down live on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so hopefully you can join me for the live show. And if these super long form, hyper-specific map breakdown videos aren't exactly the reason why you subscribe to this channel, I understand. I will have more high quality content in a shorter format in the future, in the very near future, so stay tuned. I appreciate your patience if you stuck with me. We've got Halo Infinite on the horizon. We've got plenty more Halo videos to talk about in the near future, so this is just something I've been enjoying as a bit of a passion project in the meantime. But anyway, let's get into the breakdown. Enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you so much for joining me for another map breakdown. We're on Fathom now. We've been hitting this alphabetically. There's one that I missed that I have to go back on and probably upload later. It's the Echelon one. We did it. I just never uploaded to YouTube. But anyway, Fathom today. Full map breakdown. We're covering every single jump I can think of. Everything that comes to mind. It may not be every single jump on the map. It may not be every single technique on the map, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of information. And this is why you guys are here as well. Everybody in the chat, I'm going to need your help. Anything that I miss, anything that you guys want to tell me that you think is really cool, if it's a nade throw or a jump or a strategy or whatever, all that's welcome for the discussion. I will be hitting this map in specific sections. We're going to start with blue base, and we're going to talk about starting strats. I'm going to actually try to go over different types of starting strats because I kind of missed that last time. And then we'll kind of just go in a big circle or something. Maybe I'll hit the tree houses, the courtyards, other side of the base. It's symmetrical once again, so this map should be quicker than other maps like Plaza, which isn't symmetrical. It takes way longer to get through that. This shouldn't be so bad. There's a good amount of jumps on here, but so all right, blue base. As far as inside the base itself, there's not a lot to work with in this base. Like everything that you see is just stuff that you can jump to. I know red base has its own exclusive kind of ledge that's sitting on the wall, and we can take a look at that later, but that's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like this little picture here. You can stand on this on blue side, though not as useful on blue side. It's better to have one here, because when you're hiding in this corner, people don't necessarily expect you to be up higher. You can get the jump on somebody as opposed to being here. This can still work. I feel like it might be better as part of your movement forward, like if you're pushing up on the doorway specifically and you want to just like jump off this. I don't know why I'm not jumping off this, but you don't need a crouch jump. You just jump off it and move forward. It's nothing crazy. And there's nothing really back here from what I could tell. I've tried jumping to get on top of this stuff. You can't jump on this, even though it looks like you can jump on this. It just pushes you right off. So none of this stuff will work. But as far as starting strats, so we'll start, let's say you go left to start with your strat here. And I'm going to do this for every single ramp that I see. Every downward ramp can be launched off of. The only issue with this downward ramp is it goes right into the wall. But if you perfectly time a slide, you can kind of like slide yourself forward a little bit more quickly, and I wouldn't really consider it super useful because there's a wall in the way, but it's something to always be aware of on every single ramp. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you can slide down it just to get a little bit farther forward more quickly, then always think about how you can take advantage of that. And then from there, you can go into the treehouse. You might go up and, you know, nade camo. That would be kind of like your traditional route if you're going this direction. Though, a lot of people know it's faster to go this way and to go up there, right? And a good way to do that is to super jump it. So what you would do off of your spawn, you would sprint, and maybe you'd hit one of these sweet slides or something, but really you can just wrap around the corner, super jump, and then jump up here, and then you get yourself over to top mid. So that's nice and quick, right? Hitting this ledge is going to give you a bit of a shortcut. So of course, super jump, thrust slide jump, stabilize. We're not going to talk about how these mechanics work. I got videos on how this stuff works, so I'm going to assume that you guys know the techniques. What's up, Deadshot? Whiskers, what's up? 0.1 seconds, time save. Yeah, no, literally, Eluculent, if we save 0.1 seconds, I'm going to talk about it. It's just worth. Warlord, what up, man? How you doing? Nice little unicorn. So yeah, if you go this way and you want to quickly get over to top mid, this is one of the directions you can go for. Of course, there's also this. This is super risky as a starting strat to go under here. This bridge jump is amazing. We're going to have to talk about this, but I would say it's just risky to to go grab this right away because everybody's coming off a red spawn. They'll see you the moment that you do this. So you're putting yourself, you're very vulnerable if you use this as a starting strat. But thrust sliding to this ledge is super useful, right? You can thrust slide at it from very far away. Just hold crouch, hold clamber. You get up there. Even if you're coming at it this way, what you can do is thrust slide and let your body hit the wall and ride against the wall, and then you clamber right up. Murphalicious with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. So I'll do that a lot. I'll be coming from like mid, and I'll know that I want to like cut over to the bridge right away, and I'll just let my body hit the wall with the thrust slide and then grab the ledge and go right up. This jump, I've been thinking about how I can explain this jump to someone in a way that would help ensure that they hit it consistently every single time, but a lot of it really just comes down to practice, and you got to feel it out, honestly. Like, it's a crouch jump backwards, so you have to make sure that you jump backwards and you hold crouch and you hold clamber or tap clamber, depending on what your control settings are, but the rest of it is just feeling it out. Like, you're kind of moving backwards to the point where you start to kind of fall, I guess. Like, because I feel like you can do it without fully falling off the ledge and jumping and like pegging the stick backwards, or you can gently move the stick backwards. Like, whatever technique kind of works for you, the best thing is to literally just practice it. Just do it a lot. Like, go both ways like this. You can thrust down and then, like, you should be a god at this jump. The only way to get good at it is really just practice it. Know that, of course, it's a crouch jump. As long as you know the info, the rest of it's just going to come down to practice. Just timing that jump out backwards. If you go too far back, you can sometimes you can thrust in and save yourself. If you, like that. If you go too far back, you can kind of save yourself with a thrust clamber. But, yeah. If you, even if you have hold the clamber off, you can release jump, then hit it again. Hold to get consistent clambers. Okay, I don't know that info. I specifically use hold the clamber. I don't mess around with tap. But tap definitely works as well. Light's got a little tip there. You hate this jump. I like this jump. You should get so confident in this jump that you can actually shoot people and focus on other areas of the map while you do it. Dinosaur with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. So not only do you want to be good at doing this jump, you should be able to, like, shoot the porch. And then once you get up here as well, if somebody's looking at you when you do this jump, it's a really good place to consider doing a drop back, like a reclamber. So what I do, of course, I have my technique where I hold crouch as I'm clambering. So I come up the ledge in a crouch position, and then I move back in crouch with a slower base movement speed so that I can reclamber the edge. And this is just a useful place to consider it, because this is typically a situation where, like, if somebody spots me when I'm doing this, then they start to place their reticle at the bridge and get ready to shoot me at the bridge. But I can fake them out, like, one time. You know, you do, like, one little fake out, and then you get out of there. Maybe you go around, or, you know, you crouch jump into here. Or whatever, right? Like, depending on the situation. Sometimes, like, a drop back can help you stay alive a little bit longer. Thank you for the follow, Diego. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. All with no stabilize. Can you do it upside down? You can do it upside down. You could do it like that, like left and right. I find it's much easier to do if you do it directly out of a clamber. If you, like, clamber and then try to walk out and do it that way, it's harder to do this way, because then you have to, like, really be precise with your movement and your timing, right? But you can do it like any of those directions, right? Backwards, left, right. And you should be confident and comfortable doing it, because it's a very useful jump. Something that I'll do, and we can consider this part of a starting strat as well, is if you specifically want to go for that jump up instead of go up there, is you come under through here. And this is something I first saw. I want to say I first saw Shotzi do it, but everybody does this stuff now, is you crouch, and then from here you can jump to the ledge, and you can jump up that way. So this is really useful as an escape. Like, if you find yourself in trouble here for whatever reason, you just kind of crouch, come under, and then from this ledge, jump, grab, jump backwards, grab, go right up. So you can connect them really, really quickly. If you get really good at this, then you can technically, and this is more for show than it is optimal, but you can technically do something like that, where you, like, thrust slide, spin around, grab it out of your movement, like some crazy shit. Like, try to like grab the plasmas, right, as you do that. But that's kind of for show. Like, there aren't really many scenarios where you would want to do that, but you should just be confident, comfortable doing stuff like that to escape situations, like coming out from underneath and grabbing it like that. Try hitting that jump to bridge yesterday. I couldn't get it. Are you talking about this jump? Are you talking about the thrust jump off the pedestal? Because that's what we should probably look at next. So that's just getting up to there if you need to. Though for a starting strat, that's risky. Mid-game, that jump is amazing. You just got to find the right time to do it. This area here is what a lot of people are talking about. So this is kind of the classic kneecap jump. Like if anybody says learning kneecaps in Halo 5, like where should I go practice kneecaps? This is your classic kneecap jump. Terrible trio, John, with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. The way it works is you have to sprint, jump, thrust, and like bank your shin or your ankles. You're like breaking your ankles on the edge of the ramp there, and then stabilizing, holding crouch or mashing crouch to maintain peak jump height and clamber up. One of the most important parts about this jump to ensure that you hit it more consistently is not only the timing of the thrust, but it's holding jump after you hit thrust. So like once I sprint at this, jump, thrust, and bank my shins on it, immediately after that, you want to hold jump. If you hold jump, you get a higher launch arc, and that's the reason why you make it up more consistently. So if you can remember to hold jump immediately afterwards, it should be faster than this too, depending on the timing of that thrust. If that thrust is like perfectly timed, then you can get up there faster. And there's actually two ways to do this. Shout out to Bubba. I think Bubba was the first person who did it this way, but you can do it off the middle as well, right? So if you're having trouble, especially like in a starting strat where you don't really have a lot of room to pull this off, right? Like if you kind of come down here, you don't have a lot of room, you could jump and aim for this and thrust off of this instead. So you're banking your feet or your ankles, whatever, off of this, and then holding jump, stabilizing, hold crouch, mash crouch, whatever, clamber up. So a lot of steps to the process, but sprint, jump, thrust, hold crouch, hold jump, sorry, and then crouch, stabilize, clamber, right? It can be immediate out of your jump as well, or it can be out of a fall state. So if I'm sprinting and I jump and I'm coming, like I'm falling into it, I can time a thrust out of that and still get the launch, or it can be instant out of the jump. So you have two ways to time it. Like I could be falling like that, see how I'm coming out of a fall state and I still get up, or if I have really good timing, right before I make contact, jump thrust, and if I hold jump too early, I'll clamber the ledge. So make sure you don't hold jump too early. Jump thrust, and then, yeah. That's why I tend to go for the middle one, because I find the middle starting point is closer, and you don't want to hold jump too early. I don't know how... What am I clambering there, by the way? Whenever I clamber that, it always irritates me. Like, I'm not clambering anything. But the middle one I find is kind of more reliable, just because it's closer. The origin of the thrust is closer. And as I say that, we're missing it. We're going to miss a bunch of jumps, guys. I'm not perfect at this stuff, especially when it's live. But, that's all part of the process, right? There we go. And now, of course, that could be done here as well. That could be done to go to the bridge. It could be done to go directly to top mid. You can hit these ramps from pretty much like any angle. It's the same process. And it's probably better if I just time it. Jump thrust like that. Like that was way faster, right? So the timing of the thrust is everything. You really just got to practice it. All right, jump thrust, stabilize. Cool thing about it also is you can hit it from this side. Like, and finding the right scenario to do this is hard because you're flying through the air. You're not flying at anything, right? Like doing this. Like, is that smart? I don't know. You're way up in the air. You're burning your thrust. So you really got to pick a good time if you're going to try to launch across the map this way. But it's possible, right? If you don't hold the damn jump button too early. I fall for that all the time. I hold jump too early. Too focused on launching. Honestly, never need to hold jump. That's honestly the biggest part. Holding jump gives you that extra boost upwards. You should do it for all your kneecap jumps. I do it even for when I thrust up walls. Like I time a thrust up a wall, I hold jump, man, just in case. It just gives you that little boost. It's just the big issue, like I said, is you're holding jump too early as you're thrusting, you're going to clamber it instantly. So there's always a risk. Like every little element of the movement here is got some challenge, some risk reward to it. Consistently get it without stabilizing. Are you talking about this jump without stabilizing? Light, you gotta hit it pretty like perfectly to not have to stabilize. Okay, so that's kind of what you have to know. So if you can get that down, get that timing down, then you can make your way to camo super quick. This is a really important starting strat. At least one player in every game should be doing this to get to camo. It's a huge strat. Bregu18 with a follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. Xbox Live messaging having issues. That sucks. Of course, there are so many other ways to get up to top mid as well, right? That you want to take advantage of. So simply, this is your standard, right? You crouch jump, you jump off this, you get up. Nice and simple, right? There are a variety of spring jump ways. We'll talk about that, but this one's actually really useful, and not a lot of people go for it. Is just crouch jump into this wall here, and you can actually sit here, which I love. Breed love with the follow. Thank you very welcome. So what you're doing is you're crouch jumping off of the highest point on this ramp. So right here, you can sprint crouch jump, or you can do a standard crouch jump, but sprinting can kind of help you get a little bit farther. Once you do this, the beauty of this is you can actually shimmy pretty far. I'll show you, this, like, it'll automatically push me off, and this is where it automatically, right there. See how you fall? So you've got a certain limit to how far you can go. I'm Red Death Star with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. So you want to crouch. I'm specifically crouch jumping into the right portion of this, and then you get stuck in here. I can release crouch. Everything's released now. And I can push to about the midpoint, like about here. And if I do that, the beauty of this is I've got kind of like an isolated angle with Treehouse, so I can see Treehouse, but I've also removed my angle from the river. Like, people coming out of sub can't see me here, and I can nade it, or nade myself. I can, like, nade it and, like, hide here. This is, like, kind of sneaky, like, low-key. If you have a player directly above and he's sounding off on the radar or whatever, you can just jump right up and get right up there and get in his face from kind of an unorthodox angle. So really, really cool that you can just kind of milk that spot. And I would recommend taking a look at it, like trying out. So you're jumping from the highest point of here, full crouch, landing here, you shimmy to about the midpoint if you like. You can cut off a bunch of angles and just, you know, kind of be a nuisance, and then jump up. If you want to jump up, you have to very quickly, lightly move back on the left stick. It's kind of similar to the bridge jump. You have to go backwards, right, because the roof's directly above you. So it's kind of like a quick little maneuver where you go back and jump. And it's hard to explain, but I'm tilting back really quickly and jumping straight up. Not too far so that I go, you know, away from the ledge. But Persky, welcome, man. Cyclops, what up, man? Infinite about to come out. We still haven't fully figured out H5. I'd say most of this shit is actually figured out. It's just the public doesn't know about a lot of this stuff. The broad audience, right? Only a small select few people know all this stuff. Spring jump out from that wall and save a quarter second. Eluculent, no. You spring jump out of this unnecessarily? It would actually be crazy if you know what? Oh, yo, hold on a second. Because if you spring jumped, you gotta be. Can't you like spring jump, hold crouch, thrust in, and then you wouldn't even have to clamber it? Which this is so nerdy, dude. There's no scenario where I'd ever need to do this. I'm gonna scoreboard it. That's actually crazy. So you can spring jump backwards, thrust in to avoid the clamber, and if you're nuts, I guess you might be able to get like an immediate melee on somebody. You can get a no clamber. That's ridiculous. Shay with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. You can get camo from there. Of course you can get camo from there. You jump up and get camo. Hero Gino, what up, man? What up? The other way, and I've been doing this way more recently, is that this bridge is actually spring jump height. Spring jump stabilized height, I'd say. So you want to have some momentum coming into this, but you can sprint, slide jump, and then it's going to take me a little bit to warm up the spring jumps. Spring jump, stabilize, hold crouch, and clamber up to the bridge. So, oops. So this is a nice way to skip and to save timing. What I usually do is I spring thrust it. So I jump to like here, anywhere on here, and then spring thrust, stabilize, and you get up immediately. Love Fathom? I'm a fan of Fathom. Fathom's fun. It has the sweatiest, longest flag matches ever, but it's a fun time. Oh, look, a wild Alex. Look, a wild Lanimal. What's up, dude? So yeah, you can do this very quickly. Basically, is just spring thrust out of your movement or out of your jump onto the ramp, and then clamber up immediately. So this is really useful if you're just trying to escape, if you're trying to be quick, whatever it is. Just wrapping up, spring thrusting, stabilizing. You got to be consistent with your spring thrust. And you can do that really quick, really conveniently. It's nice to do. Something else that I do, and this is just combining mechanics together to save time, is you can always remember to nade clamber, like if you need to. If you predict that somebody might be in the treehouse, you can throw a grenade before you clamber, right? And you probably want to figure out how to throw a good grenade, like, and just practice it, right? Be like, okay, in the future I'm going to throw it like specifically so I want it to blow up here, or you can maybe bank it off the roof so it comes directly down. Like depending on where you think an enemy is going to be, just know that you can combine you can cut off the nade animation with the clamber up. And you could do that in multiple directions too. That's the most, like, convenient. But you can, technically speaking, throw it that way too, right? Which would be way harder to place. You have less timing to hit it. But that's kind of the beauty of nading before you clamber. You cut out the timing for the nade, and you can shoot the moment you come up on the ledge. Yeah, that. To get up to top mid, right? We talked about this. Here, spring jumping, all this stuff, useful ways to get to top mid. The other route is just you go straight into bottom mid, and you're trying to block the railgun, whatever you do. This is a really, really dangerous place on the map. Nobody wants to spend very much time here. Though, in the off chance you find yourself stuck here for whatever reason, there's a sneaky spring jump spot, which is not that hard to get into. I just gotta, yeah, you could sit here. People can still see your feet when you do this, but I've seen pro players avoid nade damage and live because of this. In like a really risky situation. It's something to be aware of. It works on both sides. But you don't want to spend much time down here, so this is never something that you're like looking to go for. Right? But it can save you. If you're really good at spring jumps and you have good timing, it could potentially save you. As far as anything else on the blue base jumps wise, there's nothing crazy here. Something that I've been kind of experimenting with is these little ledges right here. These are spring jump height. So if you... And you can kind of do it while you cut the angles. So you could like cut this angle and then... Can you explain the spring jump? Yeah. So you can jump off of it and like chow top mid from a higher angle. But it's kind of like unnecessary over the top. But if you're... Once again, if you're just like a spring jump wizard, then you could potentially take advantage of this. Same with the other side. You could spring jump to the other side and then jump off that and get that like little bit of extra high ground for a high angle challenge. The cool thing about this though is that if you're, so let's say you're pushing up on blue base, you're aggressing blue base, what you can do is jump to this wall, this fucking shit, this wall, and then jump backwards and land on that thing backwards. So if you have really good movement, you can like do a sequence like that as you're challenging the doorway, which understand how risky this is, right? If garage is not blocked in this moment, you're gonna get probably shot by the guy in garage. But it's cool if you're like really quick and efficient with this to do like just a series of jumps like that to get high ground on somebody. You can kind of jump back and forth between both. Kind of neat. Can you explain the spring jump in a sentence? 10% efficiency. Jump. Land on the floor in a crouch position. You can now spring jump. The next step is to release crouch followed by jump, but you have about a frame in between the two actions. So you're releasing crouch and then jumping within like a 60th of a second. Like really, really quickly you have to release crouch and then jump. It almost feels like you're releasing crouch and jumping at the exact same time, but the release of crouch happens first. So that was more than a sentence, but that's essentially what you're doing. Landing on the floor and crouch, release crouch, then jump. Really quickly. And if you land on the floor and crouch, you can still move as much as you like, as long as you don't get out of crouch, right? You can still reposition and then still do the spring jump as long as you don't leave the crouch position. And you can also fall from above, land on the floor and crouch, and then spring jump afterwards, right? So it doesn't have to be out of a jump. It can be literally from a centimeter off the floor. That's why I talk about that technique, the slide spring jump, because slide spring jump, if you slide up a ramp, by sliding up a ramp, your feet leave the floor by like an inch, basically. By like a centimeter, your feet just leave the floor. And you can use that to spring jump. So if you slide at the top of a steep ramp and then hold crouch, so you kind of land on the floor and crouch, you can instant spring jump out of a slide, which is pretty nutty. It's hard to find situations where this is useful. There's a couple spots in Plaza, but that's just kind of the extent of it. What up, Goat? Forest. It's a Forest Fires. Thank you for the sub, man. Let's go. Welcome to Shyway. 10 months. Let's go, buddy. Welcome back. Do you claw while using all 4 paddles? No, I don't, Clowney. I don't bother with claw. I actually, if I scoreboard spring jump, sometimes I claw to the scoreboard. But other than that, no. LS Panda with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. One more thing, speaking of spring jumps, is this is spring jump height, right? So you can directly spring jump over this. So if you are aggressing on the base, what people normally do is they sprint, thrust, slide, jump, stabilize, they super jump over, right? So if you like really quickly want to go into the front door of the base and for whatever reason, let's say you got a round of slays, you're not expecting to get shot up from the left to the right, then you can fly into the porch that way. If you are expecting the garage spawn to be open, technically speaking, while shooting you can like spring jump over the porch and get into the doorway, right? So that's like your alternative route. You can do like a sprint slide jump that you know will land like here, so that your spring jump carries you over, which really, really sick. If you can hit a movement sequence like that and accurately place shots at the same time, you got to be pretty good to do that. You have to basically spring jump without thinking about it. That's the ideal scenario, is if you can perfectly spring jump without thinking about it. Now, speaking of ramps, once again, like I said, every single downward ramp is a launch pad in this game. You hit the sweet spot, you launch forward. So this specific ramp is useful if you find yourself on the porch and you want to very quickly make your way over to the bridge, or you want to go over to the treehouse. If you perfectly slide on the sweet spot of this ramp, you get a nice little boost forward. It's nothing crazy, but it saves your thrust and it puts you forward where you have access to these options, right? Another spring jump, by the way. I feel like we're doing this kind of out of order, but this right here, of course, spring jump height as well, right? Really useful to just know that you can do that. Can you thrust off porch and reach top mid? I've seen somebody do that, where you can thrust like here or something. You time a thrust. I don't. I've never actually hit it before. Nor do I go for it. But there's a way. You got to sprint, fall into it, and thrust. I think what you're aiming for is the corner. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you thrust somewhere around the corner. It's like that technique where you take a warthog and you put it in. What's that called, Eluculent? Where you take the warthog, put it beside a wall, and you make like a launch pad for yourself. You could bum jump there. Yeah, that I've seen too. I've seen Bubba do that, where you like jump and then thrust slide jump stabilize like off of this little ledge. Personally, I wouldn't advise this because I feel like there's no way that you're going to hit this jump cleanly without having to stabilize and mash crouch for a couple seconds, right? Like, even if I do this perfectly, and though that's not perfect, but I think I'm still going to be forced to mash crouch and stabilize for a bit, which is just, I feel like that's just danger time, you know, where you're just like slowly, like an easy target, you get shot once, you fall, and it's just a waste of your time. Like, there are other guaranteed routes, you know, like thrusting off of these ramps I find is safer and more guaranteed, or taking other traditional routes, or spring jumping up or whatever. So that's why I didn't really spend much time messing with it. But let's just continue real quick, right? So the other side, right? So you can slide off that side, you can slide off this side too. If you hit the timing right, then it'll send you over behind the silo. And this is, like, they're not super useful, but it's just, dude, come on. It's just something to know. If you need to specifically go to Treehouse, just knowing that you can get there faster by timing that slide, it's a nice little thing to take advantage of. You should be thinking about this on every single map. But the timing of the slide is, like, kind of around here. You gotta feel it out. If you slide too early, you'll trip. Notice how I go nowhere, I kind of trip. If you slide too late, you get a regular slide. If you slide perfectly, there's a specific sound that you hear too. Like, I don't know if you guys heard that sound. Like, you don't hear a slide sound. You hear like a little pop. Like that. That sound, if you hear that sound, that's usually like what you're looking to hear. If that makes sense. Like, when you hit the launch and you hear that, then that's how you know you hit it pretty well. If you hear the full slide sound, then it's probably not the best version. Okay, this is kind of the last of the base, I guess, because I don't think there's anything else to really care about as far as jumping around in this area. Like, there isn't much to this area. Of course, you guys know this is a crouch jump. You should never be clambering this, but this right here, this clamber ledge, is kind of the start of it, right? So this is pretty simple to get to. Is it useful to be jumping up here? Like, I think the timing that you do this is really important. Like, let's say this is not your base. If silo spawn is open and you're doing this jump, this is super risky. If generator spawn is open and elbow spawn is open and you're doing this jump, you might be able to make a play. If somebody's blocking silo, so like, if you know you have a teammate sitting at silo blocking that spawn, then this jump might make sense. You might be able to outplay somebody. Something I was thinking that'd be really crazy is, let's say this is your base and you're on defense and you back somebody down off the elbow, and then you have like insane movement. So really quickly, you jump up here, and then you jump to here, and then you jump to here, and then you nade him. Like, imagine this play if you could legit do this, or like, you know, like hit him with a freaking railgun, like spring jump, hit him with a railgun from above. But what I'm doing here is, so I clamber up to this, and then you can jump to this right here. There's a variety of ways to get here. You can jump forward, stabilize, hold, crouch, thrust into it. You can jump, thrust into it. If you have a really good crouch jump, you can like sprint, crouch jump, get into it like that. Normally you can't stand on the ledge. Like if you jump off of this ledge, you won't be able to stand on it anymore. So if I start jumping off this, I'm not going to be able to stand on it. This one I can stand on though, which is nice to know. As long as you want, you can stand up here. Of course, once again, if silo spawn's open, you're going to get destroyed. If generator spawn, elbow spawn is open when you're here, they're not going to expect you to be here, which is actually really cool if you're really good at getting up here. That little ledge, though, it's possible to just stand on that ledge and just sit there. If you do like a standard crouch jump into it, you can do like a sprint crouch jump. Kind of like that. The positioning's got to be like real good. We're gonna keep doing it until we get it, man. You guys can keep me entertained with your comments. There we go. If you're able to stand here, this is pretty cool because if I crouch, I've now cut off the bridge angle. So now I've removed another angle from play. So the only thing I have to worry about, well, I mean, there's still a lot to worry about because you're in a pretty vulnerable position, but the bridge, opposite bridge, and a silo. So pretty cool to know that if you perfectly crouch jump, you can land here and just sit here and just kind of milk. Now, the out-of-map jump, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit it live, guys, because I've only actually hit it once. Okay, so to get up to this out-of-map spot, you have to, first you got to back up. Once you're up here, you got to back up until you can't back up any further. And then, this is tough because there's a barrier right here. There's an invisible barrier right here. So what you're doing is you're like, you put your aimer about here, and then you have to like walk forward until the barrier kind of pushes you off. And the moment you start falling, you have to jump, stabilize, crouch jump, stabilize, and get up there without a clamber. So it's got to be like a really precise, stabilized jump. Literally almost hit it first try. That would have been sick. But yeah, it's difficult. That, without a doubt, is the hardest part of this jump. If you, like, I'm struggling with the easy stuff. This stuff is easy. Like, you shouldn't have trouble with this stuff. This, you will have trouble with. This part is just really damn tough to get. And if I hit it, I deserve, like, a candy bar or something. You guys gotta... Because, like, legit. Because also note that there's barriers like all around it. So if you can't use any armor abilities within a barrier. It was an update that came to Halo 5 back in like 2016 or something. So if you try to like thrust, you can't thrust if you're within a kill barrier. You can't stabilize. So your stabilize will automatically get turned off if you touch a barrier like area, invisible blocker or whatever. Please. I'm jumping too early as well. You get so it's hard to like perfectly time it. Notice how it's pretty easy to get to this spot, so you can optimize this movement so you get up here really quick if you pick a good timing, you know? Technically speaking, if you had the enemy's flag and you're a god at this, you could take the flag into the base out of the map, which would break the game, but I actually want to see this jump. I know, man. Fuck. Someone call HLG. Where they at? These guys will hit it. It's easier to do on blue, apparently. Apparently it's easy to do on the blue side. Oh, so close. You saw on Twitter. They'll do it again for the stream. I know. I want to. Oh, dude! We were there! I'm gonna do it one more time. One more time. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna come back to it at the end. Oh, dude, I feel like we're so close to it. It's so difficult. I'll try it after, guys. Never. So what we've done is we've done the courtyard. Talked about the ramp slides. Talked about that this is spring jump height. These little areas up here, they're spring jump height. These ramps, right? Like spring jumping off here to get to bridge. There's this. Yo, Eluculent, let me know if this is easier to do on red side than it is to do on blue side. But there's a clamber ledge on that thing. Yes, so there's a clamber ledge on here. The issue is, like, I got lucky hitting that, but you have to, like, frame perfectly, spring jump, stabilize, and the ledge itself is, like on the edge, like there. You're trying to clamber there. So you need height. You need to be, like, mashing crouch. You need to have perfect positioning. Easier to do with the overjump. So the alternative is like that, right? But then you still need good positioning for that too. So you sprint, time a thrust, and then try to hold jump with good timing so you launch up, right? Like, I find this, assuming I'm hitting my spring jumps, to be consistent, more consistent. Right? Do it that way. So you can spring, thrust, stabilize, hold crouch, mash crouch, actually. You want as much height as possible. And then clamber the edge of this. If you do that and you get up here, then you can thrust to the bridge and get back that way. I'm sure you can jump thrust to top mid as well, but you're going to have to burn your thrust regardless if you want to go back. Anything in the sub side, right? So we talked about jumping up here to top mid. This area right here is, you can spring jump if you want to, like, shortcut yourself. This is always going to be risky just because of where you're coming from. Like, if I'm pushing up on red and I want to go directly to top mid and just avoid some angles in the process, I can spring jump and hit the ledge from below, right? Like that, and then jump up to top mid that way. And then I'd have to kind of jump backwards or whatever just to ensure that I don't bump my head. Like that, and then jump like that, right? So you could do it out of a spring jump. So technically speaking, you could, like, it's still always going to be risky, but you can slide jump like that and then very quickly change lanes and get to top mid, assuming I don't mess up that last jump, which I keep messing up for some reason. The other thing is you can spring jump off of this as well. So you could do, like, a crazy double spring jump where you jump, spring jump to get here, and then spring jump off that to get to the bridge. But yeah, most of the time, pretty much every time, there you go, you can spring jump it. If you specifically aim for here, you don't need to clamber, you can skip the clamber. Most of the time, you're just going to clamber it. 99.9% of the time, clambering is, like, a good, if not better option. It's just faster. This right here, if we just go to the tree houses, this is, of course, spring jump height. The cool thing about this being spring jump height is if you're going around to aggress on somebody you expect to be, like, in the treehouse or on the elbow or whatever, like, part of your movement, you can line up a spring jump this way, right?
2020 is the year of Halo. Get ready!
Let's go, engineer. Dude, 1 second, man. Like that, just to get around and to challenge from a high angle on somebody that you expect to be in treehouse, right? So if you, like, change lanes, coming from here, you know they're going to be over in tree. Just nice to know that you can do that and grab that really quickly. If you are up here, and you put yourself up against the wall like that, you can shimmy. Not too many situations where you'd want to do this, but you could peek into treehouse or something, like, yo, what up? You can't shoot anybody who's in the treehouse. But just standing here is kind of useful. Callus with the raid, let's go, buddy. Thank you, man. 5 viewers. But yeah, this whole shimmy thing, kind of neat. Mainly because if you expect somebody to come from treehouse, you can back away from them and avoid an angle and kind of hide here for a second. You avoid some crucial angles. Somebody could walk underneath. You can maybe drop down, get a back smack, stuff like that. Works the same on the other side as well. So if you find yourself up here and you push yourself into the wall, you can shimmy all the way to the corner once again.
2020 is the
and then
year
from
of
there,
Halo. Get ready!
You can climber right up. Callus with a resub. IO had to support the map review grind. Thank you, Callus. I love the support, guys. You guys have been amazing. All right, what do we got? Eluculent's gonna enthrall us here. He's got some crazy stuff. Which one? 2 things? 20, oh yeah, 27 minutes ago. This is probably the nade-spring-thrust. I'm assuming. Adderall does what? Will crack and meth make you a better Halo player? Of course, dude. No, I would not recommend it. Yo, your scent is so high. Are we kidding? Oh my God. I do not advise any drug use for gaming. That is not the right way. Come on. So he's gonna nade and perfectly time a spring jump and thrust. Clamber, yeah, stabilize clamber. What the fuck, eh? And then where can you go from here? That's pretty sick. Honestly, that's really cool. Oh my God, you get a cheeky angle on top, dude. You nade yourself? Alright, so don't nade. Moral of the story. That's very, very cool. Look at him be zooming. Railgun camp spot. Yeah. You're burning your entire shields to get up there. So definitely very risky. And very difficult to get in there as well. I can try it, but it's definitely going to be a tough one. What else you got? Every map had movement jumps like this. I got training to do. Every map has sick jumps, yeah. Not every map has like a really useful nade-spring-thrust or whatever. Like I think, what maps have a good nade-spring-thrust jump, Eluculent? Other than this, Empire, Rig, Echelon. Echelon's got a weird one too, I'm pretty sure. Oh, this is the thrust jump you're talking about. Yeah, see, who's gonna go for this? Let's see though. You're gonna hit the bridge, right? Whoa. That is pretty wild. That's pretty cool, man. I would never expect anybody to. It's not optimal, but imagine just like first try randomly, dude. Woo! Just so you can like get to the other side of the bridge. It's like, yo, dude, look at me. I'm an MLG pro. Oh, I actually kind of got a bit of a bounce there. Yeah, if you're into trick jumps, that's a pretty sick one right there to add to the repertoire for sure, for sure. But I'm not like a trick jump master. That went way too far. I'm gonna throw it down at my feet. It's tough. One of the hardest things about this, of course, spring thrusting on its own can be pretty difficult to get, but it's the timing. Like perfect timing with the explosion of the nade. That's gonna go under. And then you gotta also throw the nade correctly. Do I have to move forward a bit after I toss it, or? I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. I probably gotta get out of the way. He like stabilized and like thrusted. You look dead there. That's a dead body. Okay, wait, what? I'm gonna wait until he hits the right take here. Oh. All right. Sorry about the bad theater. Oh, that's okay. I know theater sucks.
Oh,
what am I even aiming for? I wish you did it in first person. You use that in 8s? Oh, that's actually very easy to do. So you just fall and thrust into this corner specifically. Into this little corner here. I kind of like it, to be honest. Like, if you can consistently... You gotta time the thrust correctly or you're gonna get... There just aren't so many... Like, this is like... You should never... This should never be like your gut reaction to almost kill yourself, you know? This is like just if you really want to have an insane amount of knowledge about what you can do on the map to escape a certain situation. You know what? I got it once. Said it was easy. Can't hit it anymore. Kind of like the Empire elbow spot. Yeah, kind of like that. Neato. Got the tree houses here. Something I was thinking about the tree houses. Something to note. All these areas here can be jumped off of. Oh, there's like little ledges, right? Like little windows. Which is useful to know. Because if you're going to challenge, like, either side, left side, right side, whatever, you can slide jump, specifically land on this, and then jump to this, and then jump forward. So it's kind of like a cool little progression in your movement, just to maintain, like, a little bit of extra high ground, right? As you push the elbow. Kind of bounce yourself off of them. So you're just aiming a slide jump so that you do that. You don't really lose any time doing this. Just gives you, like, a little bit of extra high ground, and, you know, lo and behold, what if somebody's just coming up the ramp? You got extra high ground above that person too, right? It's just nice to always just have like a little bit of a height advantage just when you don't necessarily know what's around the corner. Gonna use that? Yeah, so easy, so simple to use, right? Can't really do anything here, of course. Little nade spot. I've seen Frosty throw like cheeky little nades before here, like through here before, but hard to take full advantage of that. Of course, you can crouch jump, get into here. If you're really confident in your slides, you can slide, hold crouch, get into it as well, right? So you can like get into it really quickly out of your movement. However, if you expect somebody to be in Treehouse, you should be focused on that fight in Treehouse. If you're trying to like, you know, land a slide and you miss that slide, he gets a bunch of free shots on you. So really timing is important. Top mid, camo. There's a series of ramps up here. These ramps are hard to get like a proper launch off of. These ones right here, because you kind of like slide and hit the floor really quick. But these guys right here, kind of like little speed boosts. If you can perfectly time the slide, once again, it's just always something to think about. Just to give yourself like a little bit of a launch towards the other side of the bridge if you quickly want to change lanes. Always something to like try to do. You go down like one step and then slide. And I'm not hitting the perfect version of it. Once again, you want to listen. Like, see how you heard like a full slide there? If you hear a full slide, then you probably didn't hit the right version of it. But there's a way to do that. These ledges here, you can jump on and just stand on. Which not many people do. I'm trying to remember if there's like a specific... I think you want to kind of land sort of sideways, like that, and then just stand here. So if you kind of land sideways, if you're straight on, I feel like your knees or your gun or something like banks the wall. So if you try to land like on your side, you can kind of just land here and sit here. If you shimmy too far back, you'll fall. At the elbow area right there, you'll just like slide right off. But it could be useful just to know that you can do this and just sit here and then choose your moment to come out the top mid. If you get really skilled at kind of going wrapping around. What other people do is they'll just jump off of it, right? You can just like fall and jump off of it. Once again, another ramp here. You can time a slide, launch yourself forward here. Not super useful, just something. Got the I's, cross the T's. Uncle Larry James with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. And honestly, there's not much else in this map. What have I missed? Anybody? Any crazy nade throws? Launches? Anything? The Shadow Steve with the follow. Thank you, man. Welcome. All that's left, I think, is to do this, because unless I'm like missing a section of the map, I'm pretty sure we got it all. There's the red base exclusive stuff, right? Like, of course, everything else is pretty much the same, like jumping to here, jumping like backwards onto that little guy. Same as blue side, right? Where is it? There's a little ledge here. I showed it earlier. The main thing that red has that blue doesn't have is this. This is super useful. Everybody knows about this though, right? This little ledge. You can stand on this one too. I don't really know why you'd want to. But if you find yourself in this corner, forced to hide for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe I'll jump off of it, but you can definitely just stand on it too. This jump here, which is brutal, if you can reach this ledge, I can get out of the map. I'll be on top of blue base. I got a video. Oh, we did it. Let's go. Let's go, dude. Okay, okay. Not get too excited here. So we're now out of the map. And the crazy thing about being out of this map like, up here is I can still shoot people.
You're breathtaking.
Terrible trio, Herb, with the follow. Thank you, they're welcome. I'm pretty sure I could just, yeah, I could just walk like this. And I can shoot people from above. How broken is that? Of course, at some point I'm going to run out of bullets. I'm going to run out of nades. Now, Eluculent, you got to tell me, how can I get out of this area without dying? Oh my god. This is crazy. How do I get out of here without dying? This is filthy, I know. This is nastiness. This is like totally broken. Somewhere around here, I'm gonna get killed by our invisible kill barrier. It's just gonna go ahead and kill me. And I'm afraid I'm gonna bump into it. If I walk out there, I think I'm gonna hit a kill barrier. If you have flag, you can drop it and your teammates can pick it up. Right, or if you are one flag ahead, so it's 1-0, and you grab the enemy's flag and you just get up here and you sit in the corner. That's totally broken. That's why red's better. You can't on blue side. Oh, you can't get out of blue? But you can get out of red? That's kind of cool. Can't just be a little skinnier? Squeeze through there? Okay. I think that's a pretty comprehensive look. I don't think we got anything else to worry about here. And then I'll just clip together all the best moments in one seamless video, and then we'll put it up. I'm just watching it through my my stream software. Oh, so here you go. He's got the flag up here. Are you gonna show how you got the flag up here, or some BS? He's like throwing nades. He has no freaking idea. Oh, that's it. It's just you being a cheeseball.